Lewis Hamilton's best Ferrari weekend exploded into chaos after one decision from the FIA. 10 seconds, that's all it took to destroy a podium that was within his grasp. The moment he heard the verdict, Hamilton erupted. "That's bulls, man. He hit me." But what followed wasn't anger, it was pure genius, a comeback drive that reminded the world why he's still the most complete driver on the grid. The start was vintage Lewis. Reaction time perfect, throttle trace smooth as silk. He split the McLaren of Norris and the Red Bull of Verstappen with the confidence of a man who's been doing this for over 2 decades. Through turn 1, Verstappen lunged late, desperate, elbows out. Contact. The Ferrari jolted sideways, dust exploding behind him. The steering wheel snapped in his hands, but Hamilton caught it, controlled it, and powered back onto the track. He hadn't gained an inch of advantage, just kept himself alive. "That was close," came the radio. "Yeah," he replied. Calm. Composed, still racing. For a brief moment, Ferrari dared to believe. The SF-25, unpredictable all season, looked reborn. Its balance through the corners was crisp, its straight-line speed promising. Hamilton managed the first laps perfectly, staying clear of the chaos behind. Vasseur's voice came over the team radio. "Great start, Lewis. Perfect recovery." In the garage, smiles appeared. Maybe, just maybe, the podium drought was ending. But Formula One never gives happy endings so easily. The message appeared on the FIA control screen, a simple, sterile sentence that would change everything. Incident involving cars 1 and 44 under investigation. The cameras caught Vasseur's reaction, a slow shake of the head. "No, not again." Minutes later, the verdict dropped like a hammer. Car 44 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. The Ferrari garage fell silent. On commentary, you could hear the disbelief. 10 seconds. "For avoiding contact," said Brundle. "That's unbelievable." Hamilton's response was short but sharp. "That's ridiculous. He pushed me off. You saw it." No anger, just controlled defiance. It was the voice of a man who'd lived this story before the same judgment, the same inconsistency. Verstappen, who'd gone wide twice earlier, received nothing. Hamilton, who lifted to rejoin safely, was punished. The unfairness stung, but Lewis knew better than to let fury right his race. After a pause, he spoke again, voice steady as steel. "All right, tell me what we need to do." The moment the message appeared on the screens, the Ferrari garage froze. Car 44 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. 10 seconds. It sounded small, but in Formula One, it's an eternity the difference between victory and anonymity. The reaction was instant. Engineers glanced at each other, confused. Fred Vasseur's expression darkened. "No, that's not right," he said flatly. The telemetry told a clear story. Hamilton had lifted through turn 4, lost 2/10 on re-entry, and never gained time. There was no advantage, only survival. But the stewards had made their call. Up on the Ferrari pit wall, silence stretched. You could feel the disbelief ripple through the team. Riccardo Adami, Hamilton's race engineer, finally spoke, his tone careful, almost apologetic. "Lewis, we got a 10-second penalty." A pause followed long enough for everyone to hold their breath. Then the voice came back. Calm, cold. "That's ridiculous. He hit me. I had nowhere to go." The words carried more than frustration, they carried weariness. 22 seasons in Formula One, 7 world titles, hundreds of races, and still the same pattern. Inside the cockpit, Hamilton was already processing. Anger flickered for a second. Then it disappeared, replaced by something colder, sharper. "All right, tell me what we need to do." It was the voice of a man who's learned to weaponize injustice. That switch from emotion to calculation is what separates him from the rest. He didn't need to shout, he needed data. Ferrari began sending it immediately. Brake temps, tire wear, gap to Norris. Hamilton didn't complain. He started adapting. Within a single lap, his driving changed. He began to manage the car with surgical precision. Brake bias forward 2 clicks. Differential tighter mid-corner. Early lift into turn 7 to cool the rear tires. The telemetry looked smoother, cleaner, more deliberate. Ferrari's performance engineers were stunned. "He's not reacting," one of them said. "He's predicting." And he was. The SF-25, a car that had been unstable all weekend, suddenly looked composed in his hands. The rhythm returned. Hamilton had turned frustration into focus. Meanwhile, the FIA's decision ignited chaos across the paddock. Sky Sports commentators were in disbelief. "That's a racing incident," said Brundle. "Both cars went off, yet only one gets punished. How's that fair?" Social media exploded with the same question. "FIA inconsistency strikes again," one headline read. Even rival team principals, off the record, admitted it was harsh. But Hamilton didn't feed the storm. He doesn't fight battles with words, he fights them with performance. From the garage, Ferrari's staff watched him in awe. "He's driving angry," Vasseur whispered, "but it's under control." And that's the key. Hamilton's anger never explodes, it concentrates. Lap after lap, he began clawing back time, stretching the tire life far beyond projections. By lap 10, he was running identical lap times to Leclerc, despite carrying a heavier fuel load. The engineers couldn't explain it. "He's managing degradation better than the model predicted," said one. "He's changing the numbers while driving." Ferrari's live data feed told the story. Tire temperatures were balanced, energy recovery stable, fuel consumption ideal. Everything that should have broken the car under Mexico's brutal heat, Hamilton was holding together through feel alone. "He's driving it like he's coding it," said one mechanic, watching the telemetry scroll. He wasn't just piloting the SF-25, he was sculpting it. Mexico City sits over 2,000 meters above sea level, the highest circuit on the Formula One calendar, and one of the cruelest. The thin air suffocates engines, the asphalt burns through tires, and the heat punishes brakes beyond design limits. For Ferrari, it's a battlefield. The SF-25, quick over one lap, but temperamental in long runs, was struggling to breathe. Cooling ducts were starving, brake temperatures were soaring, and the hybrid system kept overheating. But in the middle of that mechanical chaos sat Lewis Hamilton, calm, collected, and clinical. From the outside, it looked effortless. But inside the cockpit, he was wrestling with a car that wanted to destroy its own rhythm. The Ferrari was overheating in the rears and sliding mid-corner, each imbalance feeding the next. Most drivers would have backed off. Hamilton didn't. Instead, he went to work like an engineer in motion. "Rear brakes too hot," came the radio. "Copy," he said instantly. "Bias forward 2 clicks." 2 corners later, temps dropping. "We're good." The exchange lasted 5 seconds, but it told you everything: awareness, intuition, and control. He wasn't reacting, he was diagnosing. Every lap, he recalibrated. He used lift and coast to manage fuel, short shifting out of turn 7 to protect traction, adjusting his differential mid-corner to reduce wheel spin. Every adjustment was manual, not software, not automation, just pure race aircraft. Ferrari's pit wall couldn't believe it. "He's managing 5 parameters at once," said one of the engineers. "He's practically reprogramming the car from inside." It wasn't hyperbole. Telemetry showed Hamilton's inputs smoother and more consistent than anyone else's on the grid. While others fought against their machinery, he was dancing with it. On lap 24, Ferrari called him in. Time to serve the penalty. Pit stop, 2.3 seconds for tires, 10 more for injustice. 12.3 seconds that could have shattered morale. But not Hamilton's. He sat there, motionless, visor down, eyes fixed forward. You could see the reflection of the red lights flickering on his helmet as the crew counted down. 10, 9, 8. The crowd roared. The world watched. And when the light flashed green, he exploded out of the box. No words, no anger, just determination. He rejoined in 14th. Most drivers would have gone conservative, preserving the car. Hamilton went the other way. "Let's get to work," he said. Within laps, he was on the attack. Joe Hulkenberg lost and gone. Every overtake was measured, clean, precise. He didn't need to force the issue. He anticipated it. His racing line was pure geometry: wide entries, late apexes, perfect exits. The car was alive again, breathing differently under his control. "He's driving angry," said Croft on Sky Sports, "but it's the kind of anger that wins you respect." As the laps unfolded, Ferrari's telemetry started to defy logic. Brake temperatures stabilized. Rear tire degradation flattened. Energy recovery became more efficient. The SF-25, which had been eating itself alive in the early laps, now looked balanced, disciplined. Hamilton had literally changed its behavior. "He's outperforming our simulation," said one of Ferrari's data engineers. "He's doing with feel what the computers can't predict." That's the side of Hamilton most people never see, not just the racer, but the mechanic, the strategist, the scientist. He doesn't drive cars, he deciphers them. By lap 40, he was up to 9th, and Ferrari's pit wall was silent, the kind of silence that comes when genius is at work. Every lap was within a tenth of Leclerc's, despite older tires and hotter conditions. His feedback was constant, calm, and precise. "Fronts are starting to slide a bit," he said. "Copy. Can go +1 brake migration if needed." He didn't ask, he advised. That's what separates champions from legends. He doesn't wait for orders. He shapes the race himself. What made it even more remarkable was how he balanced aggression and preservation. Every overtake came without damage, without drama, without mistakes. He was building momentum without breaking the machinery, something only the truly great drivers can do. "He's in complete control," said Brundle. "That's what 20 years of experience looks like. No panic, no excess, just precision."